Yeah. Hey, do yo. Trophied up. Yeah. Hey, do yo. Trophied up. Do your dance when the G's up. G. Spaced out. Got me geeked up. 10 toes on the west. Can I beat us? You cannot. Shining every time they meet us. Rack 'em up. Since 96. Been number one in LA. Something slight. That's the gist.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talkin Galaxy. Today we got two very special guests. First one being Rob from they're both from Lacuna Galaxia, but first one's Rob. How are you, man? Rob, can you hear me? Hello, Rob. Okay, I think we're having some technical difficulties. We got the game delayed like the Houston Dynamo match was. We also got Ananda. How you doing, buddy?
How's it going, guys?
Good. I mean, we have some technical difficulties with Rob, but we'll get him
No worries. He's just trying to get situated with his new digs, pun intended.
Perfect.
Just got a move going. So yep, all good, man. Excited to excited to be on your show. Thanks for inviting us.
So a little background here. When did you first become a Galaxy fan, and what's your story?
Yeah, I guess long story short, my gateway drug into the Galaxy was David Beckham. That's why I have his jersey right here, always on my chair here. That's how I got into the Galaxy, man. Nothing shorter than that. I mean, it was like 2005, 2006. I went to a couple of those games in that first season, and it was wild. Like Beckham was. I wasn't a Man United fan. I'm a Real Madrid fan, but Beckham was one of those. And maybe I'm dating myself, but I can't imagine a world with David Beckham in social media. Like, it would have been absolutely nuts. The iconic level that he was at, bro, like not just in soccer, but in the world. Like, I remember growing up as a kid, like I wanted to dress like Beckham. I wanted my faux hawk like Beckham.
Yeah.
And I was practicing free kicks like Beckham as well. Right. So he was literally like my icon. And that's basically how I got into the Galaxy. And that's how I fell in love with this team.
Absolutely. I mean, there's very few players with the kind of influence that David Beckham has. I mean, Messi and Ronaldo also up there for sure. But David Beckham coming to MLS was just different. I saw a debate on Twitter, and I thought this was really interesting. It's not Beckham related, but it's more Zlatan related about the impact that Messi's had in Major League Soccer versus Zlatan. And I kind of wanted your take on that. And I think we do have Rob with us. How you doing, Rob?
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hey, he's back.
Hey, that's great. That's great that y'all can hear me now.
Perfect. So if you're just jumping into the conversation right now, we're talking about the influence of Zlatan versus Messi in Major League Soccer, because there was a heated Twitter debate after Messi got suspended following his All-Star game absence, as well as Jordi Alba, about Messi's impact in MLS versus Zlatan's. I mean, Zlatan was the face of Major League Soccer. I mean, the rivalry him and Carlos Vela had was, it defined the 2019 season, one of the most memorable, at least since I've been a fan of the league. What's your guys' take on that? Do you think Messi or, Zlatan was more influential to Major League Soccer?
It depends what your metric is. I mean, Zlatan was good for sound bites and for stories. And I mean, there was even a ton of articles, just written about his character and the stuff he would do. I mean, Messi's raising the profile of the league just by simply being him, but he's not the face of the league because he doesn't want that mantle. I mean, he's more of a private kind of guy, whereas Zlatan was very much comfortable being in the spotlight and wanted the spotlight. Messi's not really like that. So I think Zlatan probably raised the kind of like the excitement level long term, whereas, Messi, there's been some kind of a fatigue, I think. Some people are kind of just over it at this point. I mean, I will advise. I mean, he's a fantastic player. Catch him while you can.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say I was gonna steal something that so shout out Sophie from Corner of the Galaxy. Something that she said, which I think encapsulates this perfectly and kind of puts a little bow on what Rob just said, which is Messi's for a superstar, a worldwide global icon, he's kind of vanilla, right? Like Rob said, his personality is pretty reserved. He's pretty much to himself. And he stays true to himself, which is totally okay. But if you compare that to a guy like Zlatan or even Beckham, even a guy like Henry and those guys sort of in the early days, I think those guys understood what it meant to be faces of not only a franchise, but a whole league. And I think they were just more exactly. They had that more of an ambassador role. They championed the league whenever they could. And that was part of their charismatic nature. Messi is not that. Now, we can criticize him all we want, but that's just not who he is. So, but if you're comparing the two, I think that's the impact, right? I think Zlatan was definitely much more, as Rob said, I like that word a lot, which is the ambassador of the league versus Messi, who is a global icon and a great player, but not the ambassador, I don't think, to that level.
Yeah, and he definitely just doesn't want to be. It's not as good of a player as he is. He doesn't want to be the face of the league because that means doing the sound bites that Zlatan got, like you guys talked about, and that's not the type of character that Messi is. Although in recent years, I feel like we've seen some certain situations where Messi's been a bit more outspoken, like after the Netherlands game in the World Cup. If you guys remember that, him talking to Wout Weghorst, I think it was.
Yeah.
After the game.
Get me das bobo.
Yeah. So, there's definitely something to be had from Messi too, but it's interesting to me because I feel like Zlatan's kind of, Messi coming to Major League Soccer brings in the Messi fan base, but will the Messi fan base stay after he leaves? And I feel like that's the real question that we have right now is, I commented on you guys' last podcast, I think it was, about how much of the Apple TV viewership is based on Lionel Messi, is because of Inter Miami and Lionel Messi. Is it inflated? Correct. I think the answer is yes. What will Major League Soccer look like after Lionel Messi's gone? I don't know if he's gonna, in the long term, feel the league going forward. And like you guys touched on as well, it's interesting because for the first time, I've kind of seen the average Major League Soccer fan turn on Messi. Not like, obviously the Miami fan, but because after he got suspended, he was talking about how this affects his view on the league, and he's really upset about this. Maybe I'm being biased here, but I feel like if Zlatan gets suspended, nobody's above it. You knew the consequences were going to be a suspension when you ended up sitting out of the All-Star game. You can't be mad at Major League Soccer. It's a stupid rule. It is. It really is a stupid rule, in my opinion. But if the rules enforced on Zlatan, it should be enforced universally. And as good as Lionel Messi is, as much of an icon of the game as he is, he's not above the rules of Major League Soccer. And I'll give Don Garber credit because I didn't think they were going to make that decision, but
me either.
Yeah. But Zlatan he was so bigger than life. It's all a facade, but he's
still is.
Yeah. He's still that guy. But we got some news transitioning more into LA Galaxy stuff here. I know they were talking about game got delayed. What possibly could we discuss? But we actually have a lot. But we will start with the game, obviously. The big news, we finally got a Mauricio Cuevas start, and Mother Nature said, no, we're not going to let that happen.
It's a blessing in disguise, though, Pate, because
I
was definitely going to get canceled that night. So the gods were also like, you know what, we will let you live to fight another day. So
you got Sanabria and Zonka ball. Definitely not particularly. It's not ideal for the Galaxy to be starting Zonka in a match like this. So I think it gives more time, at least the reverse fixture, which I believe is scheduled for September 6th, if I'm not.
Correct.
They rescheduled it September 6th at 5:30 p.m. This match will still obviously be played, but the weather, it was thundering. And once the Thunder finally got down, they realized that the pitch was completely unplayable.
Did you see that video?
Yeah, I did. That was
the ball just like plopping.
I wish I had that right now. I was debating putting that in here. I just didn't have enough time. It was unable to be played. This game was unable to be played, and it's as simple as that. But without Peck, without Maya Yoshida, I think this works in our favor, because assuming that, they'll be back by September 6th, Peck, we'll go over some Peck news, but he definitely looks like he will, and I assume Yoshida will be by then. We get healthier for that game, which favors us a bit more. I think Houston away is just generally a very bad situation for the Galaxy, but maybe this is just a blessing in the skies. But also by September 6th, who knows what we'll have left to be fighting for. Your guys' thoughts on this game and the starting lineup, and Mauricio Cuevas starting, Sanabria starting. What were your thoughts going into this match?
Like you said, Zonka starting is always a little bit of a worry, just because you don't know which kind of Zonka you're going to get. Are you going to get the Zonka that's going to play the 40-yard diagonal ball to hit Christian Ramirez in stride, or are you going to get the Zonka that made the mistake in the last game? So that was kind of a worry, but that's what it was, because Maya Yoshida was out injured. I did like the fact that Greg big upped Mo Cuevas in the lead up to the game, and then repaid his faith in the assist with that start, and kind of like I said, big upped him in the week coming up into the game, kind of like hyping him up, like, this is the guy for the job this week, and he's going to get it handled. So yeah, I really enjoyed that he was going to go ahead and get those minutes, and kind of threw me for a loop, though, because I had been talking to Ananda about how I kind of felt like Mickey Yamane was undroppable, but I guess the lad does need to rest.
Well, not only that, I think for his confidence, right? I think Greg rewarded him for his cameo in El Tráfico, right. And I think it was well deserved. Sometimes you see even instances last year where I think there was I forgot which game it was, but he assisted sort of that little flick, that it was like little sombrero flick. I forgot which game that was, but Greg didn't start him, I don't think, the game after that. So sometimes, you got to reward some of these young players, and I think the rotation kind of worked out. So I'm just glad he got the reward from Greg. He got like you said, Rob, Greg was hyping him up all week. Maybe it was a little foreshadowing that he was the guy that was in the presser, right? In the midweek presser. And I'm just glad that Greg rewarded him. Unfortunately, he got rained out. So
yeah. I think Thursday he will still have that in his hand. I'd imagine.
So did we, by the way. And Rob got rained out from the first live stream performance. So there you go.
It all works out. It's fine. We'll have to have you guys on another live watch along in the future. Speaking of Mauricio Cuevas, we have a quote from Julian Araujo here. On the rise of Mauricio Cuevas. He said, "He's grown a lot. I'm excited for what the future holds for him. He's a young man that has a lot of potential, very humble, so I'm really excited for him." Obviously, this is really high praise coming from the Bournemouth right back and former Galaxy right back. He gives a lot of shades of Julian Araujo, and maybe that is the lazy comparison, but his crossing ability is, I don't know if there's another player on this team that can cross just like Mauricio Cuevas can. I don't know if this is going to be a hot take, but I would start Cuevas going forward. And I held this take before the LAFC game. I held this take long before the LAFC game. I understand that Miki Amane was very serviceable to this team last year. In my opinion, he was the best right back in the league, but I'm not very fond of his form this year. I think he's completely fallen off a cliff. Is his defensive performances. I mean, he just looks like a shell of his former self, and kind of the amount of drop off was really surprising. I think Yoshida was, that was a bit more expected than Miki Amane's fall off. But I think you have to play your young guys, and especially with, I think there's 13 games left in all competitions, maybe more if we advance in Leagues Cup. Why not play your young guys? If Cuevas is the future, I mean, see what he has. Give him significant minutes, because in 2026, we won't have time to play around like that if we want to be a team that comes out of the gate firing. But just wanted to see your guys' take on that.
I mean, yeah, I think I'm looking at it this way in terms of, I think Greg needs to give Mo the opportunity to play for his next contract, right? Whether that be at the Galaxy or not. And I think I'm looking at sort of the rest of the season, not just Mokuevas. I'm looking at a lot of players, Peyton and Rob. I mean, I'm looking at the guys that are, especially on their last year of their deal, they have something to play for. I know we're going to talk about that a little bit later, so I don't want to jump ahead too much. But yeah, I mean, you see in that 1v1 against Hollingshead, Mickey Yamane got burned pretty easily, right? On that first goal, for example. And I don't know what it is, man, with Mickey. I know that he's a guy where he's really hard on himself. I remember that was sort of his struggles earlier in the year last year. And then I think over time, his confidence built up and he built up a really good partnership with Garces. Maybe it's a chopping and changing with him having to partner with Zanka on the right side. Not sure, but yeah, that's I think that's a fair take, Peyton. Absolutely.
Rob?
Yeah, we've already discussed about how if this year is gone and again, mathematically it's still alive, it's just very improbable at this point. You got to start looking towards next year and building towards next year, and how do you lay the foundation for that as you start playing these players that are going to be your future, the bedrock of your future. And so you need to develop, if in fact you're going to keep players like Azera Parente around and stuff like that, you need to keep on playing them so they develop, and that includes Mo Cuevas. It looks like your goalkeeper situation is figured out. So now if in fact you're planning for the future, that means also looking for a center back to partner with Amiro Garces. That is not Maya Yoshida. That is not Zanka. That is, no shade to either one of those, but they're 36 and 35 respectively. So you need to start planning for a future that doesn't include them.
Yeah. I have a theory, actually. I have a theory on why, at least specifically against LAFC and Denny Bouanga, why Miki Amane has been very poor recently in the past few matches that he's played against them. In my opinion, I think it started with the penalty, the phantom penalty at BMO last year. I think that phantom penalty, because Denny Bouanga is a very interesting player to me, because it's one of two things with him. You play tight on him, which is how you should. And Miki Amane is the type of player that's able to lock him up. And he did. I thought he was fantastic at BMO last year. He was locking Denny Bouanga up, in my opinion. He was doing fine against him. But if you try to lock him up and play too tight on him, then you give up you risk giving up a penalty.
Right.
Because he's very tricky for that. And I don't think this will change until MLS starts actually punishing his diving like they should have last year. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. I mean, that's kind of that's one of their stars of the league. I don't think they're going to do that. But I think it's gotten in Miki Amane's head is my whole point here.
Definitely.
I think knowing that, before this match, they had 3 penalties in 3 games. This is not like something that it's like, okay, dude, it's been like a year, get over it. Like, he's still there and he's still drawing penalties for LAFC. If you play too tight on him, and quite frankly, what you should do against him, you run the risk of giving up a penalty. But he's good enough of a player where if you give him space to operate in, he's going to punish you. He's going to absolutely punish you. And that's the alternative. And that's why, in my opinion, you've seen Miki Amane been inefficient against at least Denny Bouanga in these past few matches. So do you buy into that theory, or am I a conspiracy theorist?
Nah, I definitely think it's a mental thing. You saw it after the first match. I mean, Anand had mentioned that Mickey is very hard on himself, and after that first match in which he gave away a penalty, he took that one really hard. If we remember, he actually didn't play for a couple of games, or didn't start for a couple of games right after that, because Greg, he wanted to give him
Miller.
Yeah, he wanted to give him that time. And I, for me, it's just one of those things where Denny Bouanga's a let's face it. I mean, even though he's across the aisle, he's a really good player. He does have those tricks, and a lot of people are saying, that's gamesmanship, it's cheating and stuff like that. Hey, it's part of the game. If you can draw the foul, right? But you got to set the tone early on this type of player. And the only thing I can reference is Kobe in the Olympics, where he was talking about running through Pau Gasol to set the tone early in the game, and Team USA was like, yo, that's your teammate. And he's like, nah, they ain't no teammates like that. You got to, especially in a rivalry game like that, you got to set the tone early and dictate to him how that game's going to go. You're absolutely right. Mickey thinks about it too much, and really it should be the other way around. Denny Bouanga should be thinking about the defender. I mean, Amiro Garces did fantastic on him until the goal.
Yeah. I thought so too. Ananda?
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, even guys, think about the El Tráfico last year, that 4-2 come from behind. I actually thought after the first half, I actually thought Jalen Neal played well against Boanga. And it's always that partnership with that right back and the right center back, right? Because the one thing I wanted to say about Mickey, it sounds like we're heavily criticizing him, but then you think on the flip side, I think he's better in the final third than Mo Cuevas. I think if you put him in those little pockets of space, in those right half spaces, especially outside the box, his triangles with Gabby Peck, Edwin Cerrillo, Ricky Puig, right? We don't have like those little triangles. He's a very good technical player. One thing that we know about J League players, that's probably the most technical league in the world is the J League, if I'm not mistaken, and in my opinion. So I think that his technical ability is still very good. He's still a very good decision maker in the final third, whether it's those lofted balls, whether he needs to play one on the ground, right? He's very good at that. And he's very good at forming a double pivot when we need to go to that 3-2 setup, building out of the back. So I think that it's just we have two different right backs, which actually is a good problem for us to have. But from a confidence perspective, I go back to the conversation that we've been having maybe for the last 5 minutes. Yeah.
It's interesting because you brought up Julian Araujo earlier talking about Mo Cuevas. Both are California boys. Both have played in the academy and both have that dog in them. I mean, Julian delighted in putting in a tackle against LAFC. And even there's even a picture of him standing over an LAFC player, a la Mo Cuevas, who stood over David Martinez a couple of weeks ago in El Tráfico, right? So similar situation, you know, so it's game recognizing game. And I like the fact that both those players get so stuck in games that are important, like El Tráfico. I mean, they show the passion, and that's what really defending the bad is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Mauricio Cuevas, he absolutely got up for that game, in my opinion. He came on, not even with much time on the clock, but he came in and he absolutely made an impact and difference.
Yep.
Yeah, from the moment he stepped on the field, it was absolutely brilliant from him. And yeah, I mean, you definitely see why Julian Araujo is praising him. You know, like you said, game recognizes game there. We got a question in the chat about the rest of the season. Do you guys think we have a chance? I mean, I'm assuming this means at playoffs, but do you guys have any faith left? Go ahead.
Rob, I'm going to quote you, Papa. I'm going to quote you. Not impossible, but highly unlikely.
Yeah, highly improbable. I mean, mathematically, it's not over. It's just so hard to do, and you know, we haven't seen this team go on any kind of consistent run to make us believe that yes, they can come back from Leagues Cup and win those 9 games, rattle off like 2-3 wins in a row. People started to believe after 2 straight shutouts, and then they came out and dropped that game to Austin, a very winnable game. And Greg said that it was one of the performances that they struggled most in. So you never know what you're going to get from this team, but certainly what you're not going to get is an extended run, like 9 games in a row. So I just don't think it's going to happen. They certainly have the quality to. I just don't know why it's not happening. Yeah. These players are good players. The system, like, again, I may get crucified for this, but I like the system. I mean, Greg's system when it's humming and purring, it's good. I mean, we saw what happened last year, but it's just not happening. And who knows why? But they just can't put it together.
Yeah, I mean, my take stays very consistent. I'm not sure what match I kind of gave up on this team, but this, you know, there was a point, you know, where I was like, okay, this is just not going to be the season. There's no chance at redemption for this team, and you know, I'm well past that point now. It's just okay, let's not be the worst Galaxy team in history, but you look at it, and I believe the 2017 LA Galaxy has, through 34 games, has 16 more points than we have now. So maybe 14, but we would have to put up, you know, at least 5 results. Is that going to happen? Is that going to happen from the within the next 10 games? You know, I'm not, it's going to be a tough battle, but definitely playoff line. I don't know. Mathematically, we're not out of it. But if you look at the advanced math and the amount of points per game we would have to average, then you kind of start to realize that, hey, we may not have that E next to our name, but it's slowly coming in there.
Looming.
Yeah.
Pending.
it's blooming season. But yeah, we will talk about Cruz Azul, Prod, and Leagues Cup very shortly here. But before we do that, you kind of hinted at it earlier. I want to play a game with you guys, actually. Keep or let go. This graphic is by the Galaxy Lad. Tonight's graphics, we have
this one hurts me, man. Because
Galaxy runs LA. But we need a yes or no answer on all of these. Keep or let go. No in between. I know salaries does matter for some of these guys, because obviously if you could get Fagundes, but just for the sake of argument, keep or let go. We'll start with John McCarthy. Ananda?
Let go.
Okay.
same.
All right. Yeah, I'm with
No
you
one
guys.
hurts. But yeah.
And I'm sure he would want to go too. I mean, I'm sure he wants the playing time, and he knows the writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
Can't
I
have
mean-
4 keepers. Can't have 4 keepers. Sorry, guys. Just,
I don't know how that happened, really. Like, I'm not in a salary cap crisis that we're in. The fact that we have 4 goalkeepers is a bit strange. So maybe one gets moved in the summer. I don't know if you guys could see that happening, but I think McCarthy would be the obvious guy to probably get moved within an MLS trade. So all 3 of us, John McCarthy, I believe, will be leaving and maybe compete for a starting spot elsewhere. But Novak Mitrovic, are you sold on Novak Mitrovic?
I'm still being convinced, but I'm okay with it for right now.
Yeah, same. I think his performances have progressively gotten better. I think he's been more commanding, more communicative as the games has gotten longer. I mean, he's even though he's not, I think I would say marginally better. I think he has the capacity to be better overall, full stop, at distributing the ball than John McCarthy, because that's definitely not a strong suit. John McCarthy is a old school goalie. He's a shot stopper, right? And a good leader, great leader, and that those are his strengths. I'm sure someone in this league still values those qualities highly.
Yeah, and if you're like a team that's on the borderline of maybe competing for an MLS Cup, and you just need a shot stopper, really, you just need a placeholder in net, I think John McCarthy could be that guy. But certainly for us, I think we need to turn the page. Novak Mitrovic, I'm also with you guys. The next 13 or so games will completely, I'll have a decision after that, because right now I'm still undecided. Same with Nascimento. Nascimento is not on here. We'll go out of order here right now, but Nascimento is end of his loan. Would you guys purchase Nascimento right now, at least?
I mean, I would try to negotiate for another loan, but if not, I mean, I feel like there's enough raw talent there to take a flyer on him and see what you can develop there. I mean, there's certainly been glimpses. I like the upside.
Yeah,
depending on how much he's going to cost, basically. But yeah, why not?
I think yes. You're going to have him on a U22 deal he's 21 right now, so maybe he turns 22. So you're going to have him for at least another 1, 2, 3, like maybe 4 years until he's 25, right? So that's a good window. I mean, Dayon needed that time to develop as well.
Nasty, bro.
Nasty Nas. Yep. No, I like his attributes. I mean, he's got a lot of physical attributes. When you see him in person, he's actually bigger than you think. He's taller, meaning he just needs to kind of, he's a little lean though, just needs to kind of build out just a little bit. But for his physique now as a 21-year-old, I mean, he holds off defenders pretty well. His back to goal game is pretty solid, as we've seen. So
hey, and let's be frank, if he had scored that swivel back heel the other day,
oh yeah, bro. Yeah.
My God, we would have, that would have made Sports Center easy. And the passing move was great too. So geez. Yeah. So close. I mean, but yeah, and I feel like you got to give him a shot.
Yeah. I'm with you guys. I think once again, if I had to say right now, I'd say yes. I think end of the season, if he's kind of struggling a little bit and faltering in form, not on fire like he is now, I would say, okay, maybe we should take another swing on somebody else if we really want to be contenders next year. As I think it's the Galaxy's goal to kind of make that 2023 to 2024 bounce once again. I think it is more realistic than people want to give it credit for, but a lot has to change within that time. And this is a big free agent list. There's a lot of money in this pool.
Yeah,
over $4 million in allocation money.
You also got to look at, what you're asking Nascimento to do. Like, I'm sure they didn't plan on having Nascimento be the starting striker this year, right? So next year, I mean, hopefully the Galaxy are able to bring in a striker that can lead the line, and they can give Nascimento the time to develop, you know, in lower pressure situations, not like, hey, we need to win these games to get into the playoffs, right? I mean, the lad's 21, he's coming into a new league. Hopefully he has a chance to develop in a natural way and not with so much, you know, pressure and with so much at stake.
Yeah, but he's a highly touted player out of Brazil, man, out of Botafogo. I think you sign him to be the starter. I mean, you give him the keys. Like, you know, that front four with him is looking pretty good next year with Puig, right? So I think you do, and I think that's one of the little bargaining chips that you have to use in the negotiation, because this kid needs minutes. I'm sure. Look, all Brazilians want to play for the national team. I'm sure that's on his mind as well, whether it's for the youth national team or the main setup. I mean, those are things in the negotiation. I think you've got to not promise him minutes, but you've got to like make him a huge part of your team, I think.
Yeah. Very good point in the chat. Nascimento plus Ricky, you kind of touched on that as well.
Yeah.
That's going to be scary.
Really nice.
That's going to be really scary for MLS defenses. I think I see a lot of flashes in Nascimento. It's not like this guy's just, you know, he's all over the place. He's like a chicken with his head cut off. Like you kind of understand that this guy has a lot of potential. Maybe develop that goal scoring ability in him, be a bit more clinical and ruthless like Dejan Joveljic was at times. It's a lot to ask, like you said. Maybe get up for some of these bigger games. I wasn't particularly fond of his performance against LAFC, although he got credited with a goal somehow on the Peck one. So
I love that.
you know, you're a striker, you score a goal, you do your job, but
By any means necessary.
Yeah, literally
I
smallest of margins.
I was gonna say I don't want to jump too ahead, but honestly, guys, he's the only striker that I would keep.
Okay.
In that position.
Yeah.
Truth.
I mean, not sorry, but yeah.
Brady Scott, keep or sell, or keep, let go.
I mean, he's only 104,000. I would honestly keep him. He's in one of those minimum type of wages. I mean, look, you're gonna need a backup at some point. I don't know. I haven't watched him. I know Galaxy Runs LA watches a lot of VCFC, so I don't know how he's been performing there, Peyton. But I mean, yeah, I think it's low risk. Unless you find a good market opportunity elsewhere, I would keep him.
I think this is more of a VCFC conversation here, but I think Owen Pratt should probably take the starting spot next year.
That's a good shout, actually. Good shout.
Absolutely.
Youth national.
So much upside.
Yeah.
That's a good shout.
Be that guy.
Multiple championships as well for the youth setup.
Yeah, he could be that
proven
guy
winner
for the Galaxy in a few years, and it really depends how he comes around. But I think he needs to take the starting reins there. You've seen him start a couple matches this year, but Brady Scott, I think it's time to move on, maybe to a USL team, whatever your next chapter holds. But I'm fine with signing Owen Pratt to a youth contract next year as that third choice. I don't think he'll see any minutes, which is fine. You keep him on the reserves for a few years until he's ready to go. But get him significant minutes with Ventura County. Let him develop more under that system. Let Kevin Hartman develop him some more. I think that's going to help him huge in his development. As you've seen Novak Mitrovic improve some aspects of his game that he's been, lacking. Like we kind of talked about, distribution's been a bit better. So, I would let Brady Scott go because of Owen Pratt's rise. I'm huge on that guy. If he doesn't end up being the starting goalkeeper in like 3 to 5 years, I will be completely shocked unless he moves abroad. But I think he needs his shot to be the starter, and get minutes there. But Eric Zavaleta.
Man, it's been real. And I was even kind of touting him last pod or the pod before that about how, he's a very serviceable center back for the money he's on. And, he gets a game like every 15 games and all of a sudden he gets a start and he comes in and he puts in a decent performance. So I really feel like you can't go wrong there. But again, I mean, it's like he never really plays. So, what do you keep him around for, like the 5th or 6th center back option? I don't think if you can invest that money elsewhere, you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, for that reason, you got to go.
Same.
Ananda.
Yeah, I'm same with that. I mean, I don't know how this guy's stuck around so long, but yeah, I mean, what locker room vibes can only go so far, right?
Yeah,
Well,
right.
I think you can
Blessing
freshen it
Paints
up.
though. Well, Blessing Paints still says dude is a borderline coach. I mean, he does know the system really, really well. He is a Greg guy, you know, and I mean, so much so that he's actually his nephew. But
Yeah.
I mean, like he really is kind of like a borderline coach, you know. So I mean, maybe you keep him around on you know, even a more reduced salary to work with the center backs and teach them the system. You know, maybe you get to start if you get everybody injured. Who knows? Just money's right. You know, if you're going to do a Brady Scott on 104, why not?
We agree way too much because Eric Zavaleta, it's time to go blood. I mean, he's making over 200K right now. I think that's an MLS Cup bonus for somebody who plays, like you said, one game every 15. It's not enough for me to constitute the salary. I think he's got to go unless, like you guys said, he can take a pay cut, maybe do that split salary with being, I'm sure he's a part-time coach basically for this team at this point. Yeah, you could do that though. Yeah, you could do the player coach contract. If we could do something like that, I'm fine with it, but he needs to be on a league minimum for me. He might retire. He might just retire. I don't think he'll end up anywhere else if the Galaxy decide that it's not in our best interest. I think it'll be the end of Eric Zavaleta as a professional player. I don't think he wants to go anywhere else really, and he'll just.
I don't think so.
Coach. Yeah, John Nelson.
You're gonna have to go first on this one, Ananda. I have mixed feelings.
Look, I think I'm looking at a salary right now. I would keep. I think he is what he is, and that's a good thing. Like he's a more than serviceable. Whether I guess we'll put it this way, he's a more than serviceable backup that can start. He's shown the ability and the capacity to start. And you're gonna need someone of his experience, especially if you keep Julian Aude. You're gonna need someone of his experience to continue mentoring and also fighting with Julian for that position, because it's always good to have competition for places, right? Like we always say, Rob, on our pod. So I would keep just based off of what he did last year and his capacity. I mean, you don't really notice him that much on the pitch. And that for him is a compliment. That's a very good thing. He's pretty steady, right? He'll give you a 6 and 7 performance most days. He doesn't make many mistakes. So I would keep.
Rob.
Ananda, what is he on?
He is on 275.
Yeah, you got to keep him if it's on that money. I mean, he's been solid. Like Ananda said, he's a backup plus. He can start for you if you need him to.
Yeah.
You always know what you're going to get. You're going to get a solid performance. He's going to be, you know, solid defensively. You're not going to get too much going forward, but if you instruct him to get forward, he will, and he's shown the ability to do it. It's just not really like something that's natural to him. Yeah, keep.
I would keep him as well. I don't think, however, that we will be able to retain him. I think another team in MLS will probably see his value as a starter.
Oh, definitely.
And end up upping that salary. But yeah, if I was making the shots and it was the same salary, I would keep him as well. Like you guys talked about, I have no issue with John Nelson starting like a rotational match next year, you know, when we just need to take some workload off of Julian Aude or whoever's the left back next year. There's a lot of rumors around Aude potentially leaving the club. Maybe by next year he's gone, but we need somebody else in that position, at least starting. But John Nelson's not a bad rotational piece in the fold, so I don't mind keeping him really. No harm, no foul. I mean, you're not overpaying for the guy. He's making maybe 50K more than Zavaleta, so I think you hold on to John Nelson right now.
Sure.
And
valuable player, valuable asset.
It's a good piece. Yeah, it's a good piece to have. Mauricio Cuevas, this is the easiest one here, but go ahead.
Yeah, clean sweep here, boys. Keep, right?
Keep.
Yeah. Onwards. Isaiah Parente, IGP.
Ooh.
Yeah, Ananda, do you know what he's on?
Yeah, he's on.
He's an option, by the way.
Is it a team option, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, look,
Oh, if he's on a team option, that's an easy one. You re-sign him, let him develop for another year,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, unless he's on just stupid money, which I doubt he is because he's a youth player, right?
I'm going to try to take salary out
think
of this,
so.
and I know it's hard to separate the conversation, but look, he stepped in this year, and I think he's taken a step up. He's one of those guys that definitely has taken a step up. He's gotten a lot more playing time, a lot more minutes, a lot more opportunities. And I mean, we always think like he might be one of the academy guys. I mean, he's an older cat, guys. He's in his early 20s, 25, actually, no, mid 20s already, right? So he is, I guess, going into his prime. And I think he has a lot of the attributes that Greg likes. He's very good on the ball. He's got a low center of gravity. He has a good eye for a pass on him. Is he maybe a little lightweight against some midfields and gets overrun? It could be, but I think you got to partner him with, the right midfield pieces around him. But I think he's shown an ability this year to potentially take another step in his game. So I think for us, we should take that chance.
Yeah. Rob?
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually gonna cheat and skip ahead to saying yes on IP here and throw Tucker in there as well. Like, these are two guys that were asked to come in on occasion and be the starting midfielders. When this team was going through a massive losing streak. It wasn't really fair to them to put them in that kind of situation and ask them to kind of like buoy the side and prop it up. But there's definitely upside there. I really liked Tucker's game in the league, not the League Cup, the Champions Cup. Every game he played in, he was a dog. I mean, he just had an incredible engine. Isaiah's really, really intelligent and tidy on the ball. He knows Greg's system. I feel like both these players you got to retain at the very least to, if you're going to try to recoup something, you sign these players to 1 or 2 years and say, hey, you know what, it didn't really work out here, but you get something for the asset.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on both of those. Really, I think Isaiah Paredes, he is a very good depth piece. A lot of these people that we've been looking at recently are good depth pieces for the LA Galaxy to have. These two are no exception. I think in the midfield to have, a solid base and foundation next year, obviously these guys aren't going to be the starters, but hey, if they come in for 30 minutes in a match or get a rotational game, I have no issue with it. Because I think they're very capable of being solid contributors to this team. They fit Greg Vanney's system very well. Lepley's so agile on the ball. Like he's incredible. His dribbling ability is it's mental. I love watching Tucker Lepley play. And then Isaiah Paredes like the anchor. That holds it all together whenever he starts a match. I've been so impressed. I don't think I've watched a Parente match this year where I'm like, that wasn't a good game. And for as bad as the Galaxy have been, that says something, because the guy has been one of the best players in almost every match that he started. I feel like he's been there and he's been all over the midfield covering so much ground. As a starter, no, obviously, but by the way, Tucker Lepley is also on an option, so I think you trigger both of those options, and like
easy decision.
You, if anything, get some allocation money for it in a trade. If they don't end up working out, you get value for your asset. Parente might have a lot of value around the league right now, honestly. If I'm an MLS GM and I'm looking at the games that he's had for the LA Galaxy, I'm like, hey, this might be a good piece for our team. So, good rotational / even borderline starter. But for the Galaxy, just trigger both of those options. Pretty simple there. Ananda, you agree?
I agree. Yep.
Okay. Gino Vivi, who is, by the way, not even rostered right now.
Right. Yeah.
We need a green card and we don't have it.
Yeah, you gotta let him fly somewhere else, man.
Yeah. Just not happening for him.
He hasn't latched on over the past 3 years, even 4 maybe. He hasn't been 4, and he's been on loans and stuff like that. It just hasn't happened, man. So bye.
Yeah. This might be the most out the door player right now. I think they're probably working on a solution as we speak on Gino Vivi's next club, but it will not be with the LA Galaxy. The green card situation right now, we have 13 players. Well, if Ricky Puig comes back, when he does, we have 13 players, international players with 11 slots. I'm going to say it's time Ricky Puig gets a green card. I mean, the guy is not really doing, I mean, he's starting to train and whatnot, but he's had all this time. He's been here since 2022 for the LA Galaxy. It's time for him to get a green card and not take up an international spot. Teams use that mechanism so much better than we do. And honestly, Gino Vivi, maybe it's a different conversation if you weren't an international player. You know, it's really unfortunate that that's just the product of the circumstances with him, but it is what it is. And I don't think it's worth bringing him back. And in fact, I think he will be gone this summer. Yeah, there's no way we register him. Diego, this is a big one. This is a big piece of the Galaxy right now. Diego Fagundes.
I kind of just want to even plead the fifth on this one, man.
Yeah, one way.
Well, I will say yes, but sorry, Diego, if you're listening, Papa, but you gotta take a little less, Papa. You gotta take a little less, man. Because look, I think at this point, you know, he's not getting any younger, right? But I think just again, I want to take salary out of this for a second because I think he has the capacity to be a very important player, not only on the pitch, but off the pitch. And I see him operating in a role model type of role, kind of like what Sasha Kleshin did for us for a couple of years, Rob and Peyton in chat. I think his influence in this locker room is big. I think it's bigger than maybe we see it on the outside. I know Rob and I, you know, especially Rob has the sort of the privilege of seeing what's going on in the locker room and just all of our interactions with him personally too. Like just such a great character. I think ever since he's been to LA, he has taken the community with open arms, and that's what he does in every city that he's in. And I think he's very, very much settled here. He loves it here. And I think he's one of those guys, like I said, we always talk about defending the badge on our show. He's one of those guys, man. He totally gets it. And I think we need him again, not only on the pitch, because I think he still has quality, but at that salary, I think that's the only asterisk that I'll put in my answer.
Yeah.
Oh man. Look, I'm not going to tell a man ever what to do with this money. And like Ananda said, Diego, if you're listening first, we appreciate it. That's love. I mean, you should be listening to Talkin Galaxy and subscribe. Galaxy. Yeah, I mean, you should subscribe to Talkin Galaxy and come on and hang out with them. But anyway, like I think the roster construction, since we touched on it earlier, is going to necessitate that hard decisions be made. Among those are going to be hard conversations. I mean, last year, one of those hard conversations was Maya. I know you started every single game and you were the captain of this team and you just won a title, but you got to take less money. I feel like some of those conversations are going to happen. Potentially one of those conversations is going to happen with Diego Fagundes. He's happy here. He's settled here. He likes the team. He likes the community. And I feel like he's a really big piece for this team, but you can't build this team successfully on what he's making at the moment. Maybe you buy him down, maybe you throw some TAM at it, who knows. But if I had my way and money wasn't an option, I would keep him. Unfortunately, money is an option, and to build a winning club, as we saw over the summer with losing so many pieces, you need to have flexibility with your money. And Diego's salary is not making a lot of business sense.
Well, guys, I'm going to give, I guess, the cop-out answer too, which is, you know, I'm going to quote Will Kuntz. This might just be a math problem. Like, our opinions don't really matter in this case. This might just be a math problem, unfortunately. So we'll see.
I mean, if most of these other players go, you know, we will have a lot of salary cap to operate within.
That's fair.
But I would let him go, unfortunately. I think he's been a lot better this year when he moved into the midfield. He's not a winger anymore. This lists him as left wing. We can't watch a Diego Fagundes left wing game anymore. It's just I love the guy, but he's a midfielder now with his age and his experience, his wisdom. I think it's time for him, you know, and he is playing the midfield role permanently. That being said, and you know, the midfield of Cerrillo, Fagundes, and Puig doesn't sound bad next year. I think Marco Reus is just going to retire. No, I don't. He's still under contract. Maybe he'll take that money and stay as a serviceable backup next year. He's our best player this year, and maybe that's crazy to say, but with his injury history, with his salary, it's just, I think Marco Royce is probably one of those pieces that they end up moving on from, but I think he'll retire. I don't think he'll leave and go elsewhere. I think he'll just retire. Fagundes, however, has a lot of games left in him. I mean, for as long as the guy's been in the league, he's 30, right? I'm pretty sure he's like 30, 31 years old.
30.
So he still has a lot left in him, and
True.
I think he can be a contributor to the LA Galaxy next year. I mean, that midfield doesn't sound too bad looking at it now, but the money's the issue. Like you guys touched on, the money's the issue with Diego Fagundes.
Yeah.
I think the amount of money I would want him to be on it. I mean, if my Yoshida was mind blown at the amount that we offered him, I think Diego Fagundes' head will explode, because I making almost $1.4 million. I think he has to be well below $1 million, maybe somewhere.
Does he have an option or
No.
no? Okay.
So I just think for Diego Fagundes' sake, it's time to move on to new ventures. I'm sure there'll be plenty of MLS interest, and quite frankly, there might be a team that will pay him what he wants. He bought a house in LA. He loves the city, like you guys touched on. He's out there in the community, means a lot to this locker room. But he's making significantly more than everybody on this list, like 500K more than the next guy on this list. And I think the guy who makes the second most on this is Christian Ramirez, the next guy that we're going to go over. But I think his time has just come. Diego Fagundes is an LA Galaxy player, because the amount of money will just, I would maybe take him back for like 700, 800K, around what Mark Delgado was making as an LA Galaxy player. I think that's fair. But that's way too much of a pay cut, and I don't see him taking it. He's making a lot of money as it is.
Depends how many years you throw at him, right?
Yeah.
If you're like, look, Diego, I know you wanted, 2 years at, 1.2, what if we give you 3 years at 800, and secure your future for one more year, like, well, would you think that, so like Hernando said, quoting Will Kuntz, maybe this is just a math problem.
Yeah. Obviously I think if we had the money, Maya Yoshida would be on a 1-year contract right now, but that little deferment that we did over 2 years, it's not looking good when he's still under contract, as well as Zonka for next season. But it's the situation you have to operate within. I don't think the Galaxy are hard pressed against the cap next year. I mean, they have a lot more room to operate. And then if we end up not extending Nascimento, that's a U22 spot. And then if you end up selling Julian Ade, that's another U22 spot. And you can convert some of that to allocation money. It's not an allocation money thing, but you're not paying Cabral's contract next year. It just looks a lot better going into 2026. That being said, Diego Fagundes, thank you very much. I would not renew that contract unless it's for an amount that would probably, like I said, make his head explode. And I don't think any agent, as much as he loves LA, I don't think his agent's going to go for that. He has value somewhere else more than the Galaxy can give him, in my opinion. And he'll probably find an MLS suitor there. Christian Ramirez is a very interesting one. He started out the season so hot for the LA Galaxy. I mean, I feel like he should be getting more minutes as it is. Maybe not starting over Nascimento, but I think he still can be. He almost had a goal in the LAFC match. I think he is still. He gets a lot of criticism that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because for as bad as the Galaxy have been, at least goal scoring wise, I'm pretty sure he's still up there in the goal scoring charts for our team right now. He has I think 4 or 5 in all competitions. He's up there he might have more than Paintsill and Peck in all comps. Christian Ramirez, but it's the salary once again. I just can't, being 34 years old, I can't say that, hey, this guy deserves to be making that much. As much as I'll gas him up and say that he maybe deserves more minutes this season, I think it's also time to go for Christian Ramirez and open up, unless he takes significantly less. But I don't know. Maybe that'll happen. It's a hometown discount, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And I got this one tremendously wrong, actually, at the beginning of the season during the CVI when this was announced. I tweeted about how I really enjoyed the signing because he was a proven goal scorer. He had experience. He was going to be able to lead the line. I did have the caveat though when somebody pushed back on that. And again, mind you, I said I got this one wrong. I did push back and say, when Ricky Puig comes in, this guy's going to eat. We obviously haven't seen him and Ricky Puig play together, but I don't think we will see them a lot on the field together because Nascimento has supplanted him for minutes. So occasionally I'll get one wrong. This one was one I got wrong. 34, the money. Nah, you can't keep him on those conditions.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say not even the money for me. I just don't think stylistically. Well, you said earlier, Peyton, that I think some of the criticism is unwarranted. I think that's fair, but I also think it's fair to say that we haven't really played to his strengths. Like Christian Ramirez, if you watch him play for Columbus, he's the guy that's going to crash the box and you give him a floated cross or you give him a nice whip delivery and he will get on the end of that, right? More often than not. You saw it in that goal that he almost scored that you mentioned, Peyton, at LAFC. He's that type of guy, like whether it's a whip ball in the air or on the ground. But I just don't think we've had enough of those moments in the final third. I don't think we've looked for him enough. We haven't given him an early delivery. I mean, Mo Cuevas is the only guy on this team that will put in an early delivery. So I'm looking at stylistically, like we've got to get, and this is why I said earlier, like maybe it's a hot take for me, but Nasi is the only striker that I would keep because I think we just need to find more of those stylistic things, meaning, our forwards need to be good in the build-up play. They need to be part of that attack. They need to be mobile. They need to have a good back to goal game as well. Like you think about Dayon, right? Just his little 1-2s at the edge of the box. Those are really, really good. And we go back to VCFC for a second. I mean, guys, there's Dylan Vanny, there's Karani, right? I would give one of those guys a chance and then maybe find something else in the market, something a little bit more on the experience side. But I just don't think Christian Ramirez, I don't think it's worked. And partly, honestly, because we haven't played to his strengths.
Yeah. Rob?
Greg spoke about it a couple times, and without outright calling him slow, he basically did and said that he wasn't getting into the phase of play that he wanted him to be in at the particular moments that he needed to be there. So I mean, I think Greg pretty much told us the writing was on the wall. Like, hey, he's not where he needs to be when I need him to be there. And then we saw Nasi start taking that role. And so, yeah, I don't think that stylistically, like Ananda said, he fits. At 34, he's not going to get any quicker. And so he's not going to be, it's not like he's going to all of a sudden be able to be in those spots. He's an intelligent player. If he could be in those spots, he would, because he would recognize that, but he's just not as mobile as he once was. And I mean, he can put the ball in net, but I mean, you got to be in the spot to put the ball in net, and he just hasn't been.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it is a bad fit. I think on maybe another MLS team, man, this guy would fit DC United's, cross and pray strategy like
all day.
Yeah, guys, all day. I mean, maybe play off of Christian Benteke, but as an LA Galaxy striker, I don't think Christian Ramirez is I don't think he's suited, and it's not really his fault. I mean, that's kind of on us for scouting and bringing him in when we knew that, as good as he was for Columbus, doesn't quite fit the profile. I mean, I think he's been good at times and he's been clinical. He started the season out really hot, like I talked about, but it's not a Greg Vanny guy. It's not a Greg Vanny system type of guy. I think there's starting to become an issue in our scouting. I'm not saying it's a massive issue. I think next transfer window will really kind of determine it for me, but I think there's starting to become a little problem right now. The fact that we're not really signing guys that fit like a particular profile of what we need them to be when it comes to Christian Ramirez, who for $500K and being a striker in the LA Galaxy needs to be a significant contributor. I mean, he was the starter from day one. But another one I look at is Lucas Sanabria. Lucas Sanabria, I feel like the scouting on him, he was good at Nacional. I'm not saying it was like he was always bad, but he's a 6. and we have Edwin Cerrillo to play the 6, and Edwin Cerrillo is penned in for next year. That's one of my penned in guys. Edwin Cerrillo, as I'm sure it is for you guys, and it feels like they need Sanabria to play the 8, but I don't think he's used to it. It doesn't look like he's comfortable playing the 8 position. The LAFC game, he got subbed off at halftime. That was kind of the point where I reached out. I was like, yo, I don't know if this Lucas Sanabria guy can be saved with us. I just, it's not, I don't think it's a quality player issue. I just think it's a style problem. And I don't think Lucas Sanabria fits the mold as Christian Ramirez does. And these are guys that we brought in an off season that we really needed to hit on to stay competitive in Major League Soccer. And I'm not saying that whoever's doing the scouting, I know Mikey Steffens left. I think that's probably a bigger loss than we thought it was going to be.
It's a huge loss.
Chicago. It's proven to be huge. And that's kind of something that might end up being a problem, but they could redeem themselves, and they have a lot of means to work within in the next off season. So that's really going to kind of make it or break it for me.
Well, I was going to say on the scouting point, I think the hire of Ravi Ramaneni in the analytics department, I think that's going to be a huge one. I think that's one of the things that we're going to have to really lean on is some of those, predictive stats. I think those are, that's best in class now all over the world. Some of the biggest teams in the world use those stats and those things that Ravi brings. So I think we're going to lean on that a lot more, and hopefully, we see some of that in the scouting in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I agree. Miguel Berry is our final one here.
I already said no.
Yeah, no, he's seen little to no time. I always kind of evaluate these things of like how much has he been able to contribute, and when he's been on the field, which has been very, very little, he's contributed very little. So not to say the effort hasn't been there, just the production hasn't been there.
The time hasn't been there. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten any playing time at all.
Yeah, hasn't gotten
a look at
one match.
So maybe? What's the point of having him there? It's like it's the same conversation we have with Zabaleta, right?
Yeah,
or the 4 keepers.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna refer to there. It's it's useless, and there's a couple spots where, as much of a salary cap crisis we had, we also shot ourselves in the foot. And I think having Miguel Berry there when you know that you don't have intention to use them, and talking to Miguel Berry in person, it seems like that maybe there's an issue with him and Greg Vanny that maybe we're not and will not understand until he's gone, at least. But I think there's a bigger issue with Miguel Berry and maybe his lack of play time. But maybe a similar profile striker next year wouldn't be the worst idea. Look at in 2024, I thought he was crucial to some games. He wouldn't put up the numbers, but the guy would close out the games. He was like the closer. He's like the closing pitcher, and like in MLB, he's the guy that you bring in, and he holds up the play, slows the game down, and he allows the Galaxy to dictate it. Sometimes he's not going to put up the numbers. You're not really asking that of him, but yeah, I would also let him go. I think maybe a similar profile striker next year is maybe on the cards.
Yeah, kind of puts in perspective, does it, guys? How good Dayon was for us last year,
yeah,
and how what's the word? Just durable he was throughout the season.
I miss you.
We miss Dayon. He was good, man. We will move on. Quickly here, we'll touch on the fact that Thomas Muller is joining the Vancouver Whitecaps, which is a very interesting transfer. Obviously, him and Marco Reus have a huge history, teammates on the German national team, rivals in Bayern and Dortmund. I'm glad he's not joining the other team, not because I don't think I don't know if he'll be amazing. I think his ceiling is maybe Marco Reus, maybe a bit better, tiny bit better, but I also think that Thomas Muller is just a really good personality and a good guy to have in the league. I like him as a person. That would have really sucked if he went to the team across town, because not for the fact that I thought he would be a world beater, just the fact that I like the guy. So it's nice to have another German legend in Major League Soccer. But yeah, your guys' take on Thomas Muller to Vancouver.
You're a brujo, Baba. You called it on Goals TV, didn't you?
Sometimes I'm a brujo.
You said Vancouver needed a 10.
Magic.
They got their 10.
Sometimes I'm a brujo.
He's still
injured.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And it's a shame too, because I mean, if they had gone in that run up to the Champions Cup, who knows? I mean, they
Yep.
maybe could have taken it. They could have even been more lights out at the beginning of the year when they were dusting teams aside left and right. Now they've kind of come down to earth a little bit, but maybe this is the signing they needed to pump them back up. I mean, like Ananda said, I was talking about how Vancouver just lost Pedro Vite. They didn't have Galt. They needed a 10.
Yeah.
This is what does this cat call himself? The space interpreter or something like that. Like like he one time was asked in a German interview like how he saw his role, and the word he used translates to space interpreter.
Yeah.
And so everybody was like, oh, he's a space interpreter. It's like, but I like the signing. I mean, it's shows ambition for Vancouver. I mean, they're one of the better teams this year. They needed a 10. He's like you said, he's probably got Marco Royce's ceiling, probably even a little bit more because he hasn't had a history of being as injury hit as Marco Royce. Good signing for Vancouver. I mean, again, everything's predicated on money, but I mean,
Yeah.
this is going to set.
Yeah.
Oh, Tam. Oh yeah, all day. I mean,
All
the
day.
jersey sales, the ticket
Yeah.
sales alone. I mean, yeah, and then you're getting a quality player. Easy money.
Yeah.
Only downside on this one, he's playing on turf. So I'm pretty sure we'll see how that pans out. But no, good signing. Good
Yeah.
signing all around. I
Yeah.
think.
Well, they won't be at BC Place next year because remember the lease on BC Place runs out. So
Fair, but I don't
go.
know where they're going to. Yeah.
Oh, you gotta find a new home.
Yeah, they got to find a new home. So unless I'm been out of the loop and that they re-upped on their stadium lease, yeah, Vancouver won't be playing at BC Place next year. Somebody can fact check me on that, but we reported on that at some point 5 or 6 months ago, something like that.
Yeah. This kind of reminds me of the Galaxy last year when we lost some steam bringing in Marco Royce. I mean, just Vancouver lost some steam. They're not as good as they were at the start of the season.
Truth.
Like we brought in Marco Royce and things really turned around. Maybe Royce wasn't the main catalyst of that, but you could definitely tell that he contributed, helped Ricky's confidence. The 4-2 comeback El Tráfico, he was massive in. Maybe this is their type move. He will be TAM this year. I think this is why I say they're going all in. He's TAM this year, but a DP next year. I mean, that might pan out to be difficult when he's a DP at his big age next year. But for this year, he's a TAM player. Go all in. If you're Vancouver, the window's open. It's the worst Western Conference I've ever seen with my 2 eyes. So, might as well get in the mixer there.
100%.
Moving on here, Leagues Cup. We're finally here. We finally arrived at Leagues Cup, everybody. We got 3 matches in the new format of the group stage. But first of all, we got a roster here. Very, very typical from the LA Galaxy, except Ricky Puig. Ricky Puig is on the Leagues Cup roster for the LA Galaxy, our number 10. I will say that I do not believe that he will feature at least until maybe if we even make the semifinals or finals. I think this is more of a Hail Mary shot by the Galaxy. Like, hey, let's see where he's at. And, this tournament's going to go on for a while. Maybe in a month's time, Ricky Puig is feeling better to come off the bench for a match or two. I think this is just more of a Hail Mary than anything. Maybe brings in tickets. We threw Zlatan on a Leagues Cup roster in 2019 for back when it was the Leagues Cup showcase, and we all knew Zlatan wasn't going to play. But Ricky Puig is on the Leagues Cup roster. So takes on this.
Preventative measure. He's not ready. He probably won't feature, just like you said, but doesn't hurt to include him just in case.
Yeah.
Something
Just like it doesn't hurt to include, Winder, Brady Scott, Harbor Miller. I'm seeing it on the same level. Yeah, probably not going to be used. It'll be interesting, Rob. I think media availability for Leagues Cup is tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see what the injury updates are, and if we're going to get an update on Ricky at all. So just a little reminder, Baba, maybe you can ask him that question.
Oh, I definitely will. Senor Greg, ¿dónde está Senor Ricky?
Perfect. I mean, once again, if you have like you guys said, if you have Brady Scott on this, might as well just throw Ricky Puig on it and say, hey, maybe he's good for the final if we God knows if we ever make the final, but we'll go over that very shortly here.
One can dream.
Yeah, one can dream, and dreaming is absolutely what we will do. But first of all, we got a Leagues Cup opponents. This is our master list of the Leagues Cup opponents. Obviously, Thursday we will be playing Efrain Alvarez's Club Tijuana. We got to return to the digs for Efra, and then
No. He's with Chivas now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he finally got his dream move to Chivas,
That's
but
right. Earlier this year. Yep.
but we have an Efra stand-in in Gilberto Mora, the young 16-year-old.
Perfect.
Yeah, so you have an Efra archetype there.
Yeah, Efra 2.0 then. But we got Club Tijuana on Thursday, July 31st. We got Cruz Azul on Sunday, August 3rd, and we got Club Santos Laguna on Thursday, August 7th. Now, they changed the format this year. If you remember how terrible that format was last year. Yeah, they change it every year. The format is one of the biggest reasons why I can't take Leagues Cup seriously. The games are entertaining. The games are absolutely entertaining. I love the fact that they can't end in draws. I think that adds so much excitement. We could see a penalty shootout at the digs as early as Thursday. Let's hope not. Although we won one last year against I believe it was Chivas in the group stage, but they changed the formatting. It was so awful last year. The fact that we won the group and had to go on the road to Seattle was so stupid.
Criminal.
Yeah, it was absolutely criminal, but they changed it this year. As you could tell here, we're only facing Liga MX's opponents, and that goes for every MLS club. It's only MLS versus Liga MX. No MLS versus MLS, I believe, until the semifinal at least. Maybe the quarterfinals, but from making my own Leagues Cup bracket, it was the semifinals where you found your first MLS versus MLS or Liga MX versus Liga MX matches.
Yeah, you're right.
This is real interesting here. Only 4 MLS teams go through.
Jesus.
Now, I will say not every MLS team is in this. Exact number, I have no clue. I would guess it's somewhere around 20, give or take.
18 from Liga MX and 18 from MLS.
Okay. Baby. Yeah. Okay. So we got 18 teams from MLS, 18 from Liga MX, and only 4 go through. It's like a table. It's like a table.
36 total and 8 go through.
Yeah.
Correct.
They should have just had a round of 16, in my opinion. I'm not sure why we're avoiding that so much.
Straight to quarterfinals. One less game, but still.
Yeah, I guess. But at the same time, it's like we should have a round of 16 in this. The fact only 4 MLS teams makes it through means that the Galaxy have no room for losses, really. I mean,
nor do anyone else.
Yeah, I mean, nor do anyone else. But we play Cruz Azul in here. That's a very difficult matchup. If we lose that game, that might just straight outright eliminate us. If I had to guess, I think 7 points will get you through. I think 7
at a minimum.
Yeah, maybe more, but I think if you lose one match in regular time, because you get a point for penalties like MLS Next Pro, you get a point for penalties and 2 points for a penalty shootout win.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe if you want to be safe, 8 points. So, you could afford 2 regular time wins, and it's such nonsense. 2 regular time wins and then a win in penalties basically is as far as the Galaxy can go in terms of playing it safe and advancing in Leagues Cup. Only 4 MLS teams make it through, so we're going to have to be so near perfect here. Oh, boy.
I can envision a world where not every team that wins all their games, like I can see 5 or 6 teams winning all 3 of their games and then having to duke it out over goal difference for the 4 spots. I mean, you're not even guaranteed a spot if you win all 3 of your games. You got to really, just play your ball and score goals here, because only 4 from each side out of 18. So those Ananda's the math guy, not me. But what is the percentage? 4 of 18.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, less around 20,
around 25%?
20 between 20 and 25%. Yeah.
Yeah, those are tough odds.
I don't like it. I mean, this really doesn't favor the Galaxy, but I think we have 2 matchups that are winnable. I think Club Tijuana and Santos Laguna. I don't keep up with Liga MX as much as I know a lot of people that I know keep up with it, but at the same time, from my understanding, these are the 2 winnable games. Cruz Azul is more of a long shot, Hail Mary, throw a shot in the dark.
Right.
They went far in CONCACAF Champions Cup.
The champs.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, the champions, we're going to have to play the champions of CONCACAF in there. And, they come into the digs. We get the benefit of having all 3 home games.
However, Cruz Azul is going to come heavy with their
Yeah.
fans. I
Yeah.
mean, you saw what Club America did at LAFC for the one-off for the Club World Cup, right? It's not going to be as crazy as that, but definitely there's a lot of Cementero fans, and they're going to be out at the digs in full force. I mean, it's a Sunday night. Like, hey, let's go check out Cruz Azul at the digs. I mean, there's going to be tons of people there.
That might work to the Galaxy's advantage, though, of course, with everything else going on right off the pitch. But I mean, you guys remember that Chivas de Guadalajara game last year? I mean, that was a good game. That was a good spectacle with a good crowd.
Yeah.
The penalty shootout was nice. That was Mitrovic masterclass day, right? So that could work to our advantage, Rob. And again, we're still playing at the digs. We're familiar with that piece of grass, right? So, anyways, yeah, I think it'll work to our advantage. I think.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, they bring
tough
numbers.
match though.
Yeah.
Tijuana's no slouch either. I mean, they
very good defensively.
Yeah, they have moments where they play really, really pretty soccer. They have a couple Ecuadorians in the team as well. Ananda let me know about one earlier, Adonis Preciado, pacing winger. Obviously, he's when he was younger, he was a lot faster. But then Jackson Poroso is their center back. And Poroso on his day is a really, really good center back. I would have thought at one point in his career he was going to be in Europe. He's in Mexico right now, but yeah, good players. And then again, I mean, Mora is that generational type player. I mean, he's the jewel of Mexican soccer right now, and he would like nothing better, I think, than to make some headlines against the Galaxy. I mean, high visibility. He's going to try to show up and show out for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got our first match against Club Tijuana. Shout out Jody PSD for the graphic. This is, if you're going to advance, you're going to need to win this one. Bottom line, you can't afford anything more than or anything less than 3 points
in regulation as well.
In regulation, we can't even get 2 really. I think that'll put us in a really bad spot. We need to win this game. We need to win it outright. But, like you said, Club Tijuana has their moments. Apparently, I don't watch them. So, apparently they have their moments. This is one of those where it's like when it's an MLS matchup, I'm like, okay, I kind of know when I expect when we play like a Vancouver Whitecaps or, Seattle, you kind of know what you're getting. I have no clue what we're getting ourselves into, tactically. So it will, we'll see how they set up here. Starting lineup wise, I'd expect Novak Mitrovic stays in net. Julian Ade. We could see some people slot in that don't typically do. There was some Maya Yoshida injury news. I guess we'll touch on here. Maya Yoshida is not at training. He's not at training. I wouldn't expect that he plays this match, so I think it will be Zanka and Garces. Maya Yoshida being out, it sucks. I don't know how long it's going to be. Maybe you guys can get an update for us tomorrow. Hopefully,
we definitely will.
And
on Peck as well.
Peck.
Well, I mean, we're gonna ask for the gamut here. We're gonna ask, if there's any injury updates, and especially Greg, what's up with Ricky? He was on the Leagues Cup roster. What's your thinking there?
Yeah.
He was in your promo video with Mauricio and Edwin. Come on,
right?
Yeah. Throwing some shade at LAFC. He is back because he's throwing shade already.
Yeah, that's how you know. And he's on Twitter. I'm sure. He's somewhere in the shadows.
I'll
know he's really back when him and Profe Alex start beefing on Twitter again.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. But going back to just to help you out here, Peyton, because I did a little research on sort of what to expect from Tijuana. One thing that's clear, they're a very good defensive team. If you look at their stats from last year in the Clausura, because we know. Of course, you guys that follow Liga MX know that there's a Clausura and Apertura. There's sort of two different seasons. Two parts of the season, they were ranked number 1 and 2 in XG conceded. So I think we've got to expect that they're a very good defensive team that don't give up a lot of chances. So yeah, that's one thing to expect for sure.
Yeah. Rob?
Yeah, well, like I said, I mean, this is a team that plays really pretty soccer on their day. This is a winnable match, like you said. However, this is a good team, so it always depends on which Galaxy team you're going to get. Are you going to get the team that shows plenty of fight in the last 23 minutes of El Tráfico, or are you going to get the team that went down 3-1 in the first 67 minutes and made a bunch of mistakes? If you get that first team, Tijuana's picking up that easy dub.
Yeah. Checking the betting odds here. They have the Galaxy pretty favored to win. Win this match. Of course, it is a home game. That always inflates it a bit, but it kind of reiterates the fact that if there is a winnable game, I think this and Santos Laguna need to be must wins. They're absolute must wins. Peck is back in training. According to Galaxy Runs LA. He is back as well, but Maya Yoshida being out means that Zonka will start at center back. I think they still repay the faith in Mauricio Cuevas in this match. I think he gets the start at right back. Midfield wise, I think you're looking at Edwin Cerrillo, Diego Fagundes, Marco Royce, and Peck, Paintsill, Nascimento front three. Would you change anything, or do you think that Greg Vanney will go in a different direction?
He might. I was gonna say he might throw Lucas in there. Lucas Sanabria. We know this about Liga MX teams: very physical, very high intensity. Sure. Which is probably why Greg gave Lucas the start against LAFC, because not only did he want to guard against the transition, but we know that LAFC's midfield is very physical and high intensity, and they cover a lot of ground, right? That is one of the strengths of Lucas Sanabria for sure, is his dueling capacity. He does cover a lot of ground. But if Greg is thinking more offensive minded, because we have to be offensive minded, we're at home, the rules and sort of the outcomes of this tournament, the way they change the rules kind of prompts you to be on the front foot and to be very attacking and to go for games instead of being very tactically sort of sound. That could be a reason for him to go for Diego. But yeah, that's a 50-50 one for me, man. But let's put it this way. I wouldn't be like appalled either way.
Yeah.
I do think we're going to see some rotation, especially towards the end of the tournament. I mean, you have the Santos game on Thursday the 7th, and then you have Seattle visiting Los Angeles on Sunday, August 10th, which is, their first visit to Los Angeles ever since the Christian Roldan hacking of Ricky Puig. So I know they're going to get a warm reception. I actually called that Ricky Puig would make his return either in the Seattle game or in the following week's Miami game when Los Angeles visits Miami. But let's see if I'm a brujo on that. But I do think we're going to see some rotation. I would expect to see a lot more of Parente, maybe a lot of Mauricio Cuevas, some Lepley features as well. Up to and including we might even see the young lads, Harbor Miller and some of those guys. But it just really depends on we'll actually see the Galaxy's intention by the first starting lineup they put out.
Yeah.
If they put out
for sure.
a full strength starting 11, then we know, hey, Greg is taking this very seriously. It is the only chance basically to win a trophy this year, except for a Campeones Cup, and this is an avenue to the Champions Cup.
Yep.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they take it seriously? If I was the Galaxy, I would be forwarding everything into this. I mean, you don't need to be looking like you were last year to, hey, we need to finish this regular season strong. We need to build momentum going into the playoffs. It's like, we don't really have that. We don't have that anymore. So might as well forward everything to Leagues Cup and make a deep run. And like you said, you need to be playing in CONCACAF. If you want to be considered a top team, you need to be playing in CONCACAF every single season. I know it hampers the schedule. Having 8 games in April was not ideal, but it's something you got to deal with. All the best teams do it, and the Galaxy are no exception to that. So I think Leagues Cup is where it's at. At least get 3rd place, please. I'll take a CONCACAF spot.
Agree. Full send.
Expectations for Leagues Cup is generally not.
It's just really, really hard. Like, I mean, we already saw the rules make it super hard for teams to progress. So yeah. I don't see the Galaxy winning all 3 games, and that's might be what it takes. I do see them maybe picking up 2 wins and a draw, or maybe 2 wins and a loss, but that won't be enough to go through. So I think first round elimination.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say first round elimination only because of it's a byproduct of the rules. And it's that Cruz Azul game. Everything basically hinges on that game for me. I mean, of course, you've got to get the first 3 points, but then after that's really going to be the decider whether we go through or not. Is that Cruz Azul game, whether we get 1, 2, or 3 points.
I kind of feel like that's the match everyone's going to be looking towards, and the Galaxy will get up for it and then like surprise everybody and win it. And then, they're like, oh, we won 2 in a row, especially this last one against Cruz Azul.
That would be the Galaxy.
And then the emotional letdown will be against Santos Laguna.
Sounds
And
right.
that's what happened this against Austin. I mean, Tuchel wins in a row, and then a very winnable game. I mean, we even talked about it on the pod. I mean, Austin wasn't producing, and they did against the Galaxy. So I mean, that is the Galaxy way this year. Just like, hey, let's bring them up so we can let them fall harder.
Yeah, the cycle of disappointment, man.
I
saw it in my head.
It's so funny too because we're all literally like shaking our heads. Yep, absolutely, and that's this team's MO. So.
Oh, there has been some upsets. Montreal beat Club Leon in penalty kicks. Not an upset, but Toluca beat Columbus Crew. Puebla beat New York City. Tigres beat Houston 4-1. LAFC is currently 1-1 with Mazatlan.
Yeah.
Okay. Mazatlan. And Pachuca's beating San Diego 2-0. So, Montreal, I guess, is the big one there. I don't know. If they can do it, so can we.
Let's go, Jalen Neal. Yeah.
Battle of the bottom barrel teams. You see that sometimes. Look at Colorado last year. Colorado had a terrible season. Well, no, okay, hold on. Wait. No, they made playoffs, but they weren't as good as third place. And I think we all know that, but they got third place. They got in CONCACAF from it. Why can't that be the Galaxy? But after all of that, I will say that I don't think it will. If you saw my story, I picked us to win Leagues Cup. I want you to know that was complete satire. Although if it happens, I got the money ready. The money's ready to be transferred to my bank account, the 10K or whatever it is. It's not going to happen. We're going to exit in the group stage. Oh, man. It's going to suck. If we lose at every game is pretty much an elimination game here, because if you lose the first hurdle against, Club Tijuana, it's like, well, there it is. That we got 2 more games and
2 more dead rubber matches.
Yeah, pretty much. Because if you don't beat Club Tijuana, it's that's probably it for your League's Cup run. So very important matches that the Galaxy are going to have to play, and we're going to really have to get up for it.
It's going to be big.
Well, here's the only other, like, I guess, ray of hope, guys, is the one you could see though an outcome where all the Liga MX teams beat up on all the MLS teams.
Yes.
And so the average goes lower. Because like if you look at even in the first day alone, there's been no MLS team yet so far. Again, LAFC still 1-1 at the 90th minute, but no one's gotten 3 points. Montreal has 2, Columbus has 2, right? So who knows? Maybe the average goes a little bit lower. Maybe it's 6 points. We don't know, but I could totally see that outcome in some weird multiverse. There.
Yeah. Tomorrow you have a slate of games as well. I mean, the big ones tomorrow are obviously everyone's going to be watching that Inter Miami match against Atlas. Necaxa, if I had a Liga MX team, would be Necaxa playing Atlanta United. Pumas hosting Orlando, Minnesota versus Querétaro. Club America versus Real Salt Lake, and Portland versus San Luis Potosí.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to be so hard. If it was like top 8 or something at MLS, I'd be like, I think we'll advance past the group stage. In this case, I just it's so difficult. Having the CONCACAF champions on our hands is not going to play in the Galaxy's favor. But maybe the average goes down. If I had to put a number on it, I think it's going to be 7 plus a moderately decent goal differential. If I had to guess, I think it'll be 7 points for MLS. Liga MX might be higher. You also have to account for the fact that these are all going to be home games for Major League Soccer. So that can also raise it. But like you said, day one, Tigres beat up on Houston. Liga MX teams are handling their business with MLS. So maybe that trend will continue. And for the Galaxy's case, let's hope it does, besides when it's against us. But
Yeah.
Club Tijuana, we got predictions, guys, for this match.
I'm calling a Galaxy win, actually.
Okay.
I feel good. You mentioned it. I mean, it's a very winnable game. I mean, it's going to be a tough match, but it's a winnable game. I feel like the Galaxy are going to be at home. I heard that at least one supporter group will be there. So they'll have a little bit of rhythm and pulse behind them. So yeah, I'm calling a 1-0 or a 2-1.
Yeah, I'm with Blessing Paintsel. I think I'm at a 1-0, maybe even a 2-0. Surprising that I would call a shutout, but yeah, I think it just depends. Rob said earlier what Galaxy team is going to come out. I mean, we need to come out with a lot of energy. We need to come out in the front foot. We need to be the home team, right? And hopefully we finish our chances, and that's always what the Galaxy comes down to. But I think if we see a strong lineup out there, there's no reason why the Galaxy shouldn't get 3 points, because as you said, Peyton, out of necessity, this has to be a 3-point banker.
Yeah. And Prod with the 3-1 Galaxy, I'm going to piggyback off of them. I think it will be a 3-1 Galaxy game here. You guys mentioned too on having a very good back line. I think Peck and Paintsel will get firing. I think they will get firing in this game. This is a clean slate for them. And cross your fingers. This is a clean slate for them. Everything in the MLS season. If you're the Galaxy, this tournament right now has to be the biggest blessing. No pun intended. Because your worst MLS season in history this far wiped away. All your record, you guys have been complaining about it. You've been feeling the fan backlash. It's gone. You have a chance to completely wipe the slate, have a new set of confidence, and maybe bring it back into MLS play afterwards. This is a continuous tournament now, meaning that after the game on the 7th against Santos Laguna, we play that Saturday against the Seattle Sounders back in MLS play, and then the quarterfinals would be August 18th or 19th, I believe it is. Still within the MLS play. They're not stopping it for a month here, so maybe that plays to our benefit too. Maybe that plays to our benefit where there's other teams that if we advance past into the quarterfinals, other teams may be a bit tired from MLS play, trying to balance the two. And we're like, hey, we don't care about MLS right now. Like, this is our chance, and maybe it wipes the slate clean. That is my optimistic take on this tournament. Maybe the Galaxy find a way to advance 3-1 in this first game. The Cruz Azul match on Saturday, I think, oh man, I don't know. I like you guys said, I think this will be a Cruz Azul takeover, quite honestly. And it's still our pitch. We play within the width of the pitch because that plays to our advantage. Apparently, we have one of the wider pitches in Major League Soccer. We know how to play in it, although this season would suggest otherwise. We've gotten all 3 of our wins this year here. I don't think it's going to happen. I can't see a world where we beat Cruz Azul. There's upsets in this tournament, and I just don't think we can outplay a team of that caliber throughout 90 minutes. This team is so prone to defensive errors, and when you have an attack that lethal, I really think we're going to get punished in that way, where we can't afford any mistakes. We're going to have to play an almost perfect game. Through 3 games, we're going to have to be almost perfect for the LA Galaxy, and what from this season would suggest that that's the case. But like I said, slate clean, so maybe they'll perform, like the 2024 LA Galaxy again. Who knows? But I don't think that's the case. I think it will be 3-0 in Cruz Azul's favor. I don't see the Galaxy winning, and I don't think it's going to be favorable for us. I think we might it might just be one of those games where they score and they don't let up on us because goal differential matters.
Yeah,
it definitely does. There's a lot of quality in that team. I mean, just in the midfield alone, you're looking at probably accumulated like $30 to $40 million worth of talent right there, right? I mean, Faravelli and Rodriguez alone are. I mean, Faravelli has tons of experience in international competition. I mean, he won the Copa Libertadores with Independiente del Valle. And Carlos Rodriguez has been a stalwart and a mainstay of the Mexican national team. Jorge Sanchez on the wing, fantastic player as well. And then it's funny because Carlos Rotondi is probably the midfielder or like the person in that midfielder, even though he's a winger in that middle four, that's probably the one that's talked about the least. And he himself is a fantastic player who was on the fringes of the Argentine national team earlier in his career. So, I mean, you have a lot of quality in that team. I mean, the Galaxy are going to have to be damn near perfect that day to get a result. If they're not perfect, which you've seen them several times this year just make mistakes and shoot themselves in the foot, then it could get ugly. 3-0 is a real possibility. However, I'm probably going to call a 2-1. I think the Galaxy will get a goal. They'll be at home, 3-1, 2-1, something like that. But yeah, Cruz Azul win seems accurate.
Okay.
Yeah,
Fernando?
yeah, I'm the same. Cruz Azul. I think the best we could hope for is to take this in the penalties.
Yeah.
And then just ride your luck there. But yeah, I think it's going to be a loss. This game would be so much different if Ricky Puig was in that lineup, but he's not. Yeah. So that's the thing, right? That's the thing that kind of gets you up from a tie or getting into penalties being your ceiling versus, you know, having any sort of confidence going to that game.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly something where it's like, dang, I mean, the Galaxy, man, I could totally see us winning. I have it in my head now. I could totally see us winning and then just dropping an absolute stinker against Santos Laguna. Since while we're here, do you guys think we don't have an official preview for this game, but Santos Laguna, do you guys think we're going to win that match, though? Do you think we're going to end on 6 points or just kind of fold? What do you see happening in that final game?
Nandita?
Well, just based off of the table, they didn't really have a great last season in both the Clausura and Apertura, so it is a winnable game. I think what you've been hearing is probably right on paper, Peyton, but I just think it depends on where we are, right? Standings wise, like if the pressure is on, like Rob said, God, that's going to stick in my head now for the rest of this tournament.
Yeah.
But if the pressure is on and we need a result in that game, I don't know if I have the confidence that we'll deliver. But if we're standing on 3 points, maybe even 4 points, like we somehow get to penalties against Cruz Azul, I think we have a good chance of winning that game. I think the pressure's off because you take your chances, you win that game, you go all out, and then see what happens in the standings, right? Because anything can happen. So, yeah, I think it depends.
Absolutely. Rob?
I was doing a little bit of counting here, 28, 29, 30. In the last 30 matches, Santos Laguna has only won 3 times.
There you go.
So,
like us.
So you're looking and you're looking at large stretches. I mean, you're looking at March 15th through April 20th, all losses. You're looking at a stretch from September 28th, 2024, all the way to February 23rd of the beginning of the year, where they didn't win, and then they finally got a win. They copped another loss, got another win, and then they just went on that massive streak that I told you about, only 1 win in 10 games. So this is probably the most winnable game out of the 3, and that's why, again, I do think that they're going to do the Galaxy thing and win the first 2 games and then drop the one again, or like not even maybe drop, just like tie and win it in penalties, and that's going to be like the thing that doesn't see them through or something like that. But yeah, this is the one that the Galaxy should, on paper anyway, easily win. That's why I'm so worried about it.
Yeah, I'm with you on the. I think we're gonna win this game on penalties. I think we're gonna win on penalties, and we're gonna end on 5 points short of the marker to go to the next round. The formatting needs to change again. It's just. I like the fact that we're playing all Liga MX teams. I like that. I also think to be a legitimate competition, we also have to play in Mexico.
Yeah.
If you want to count this as a legit competition, it has to go both ways. And until then, I can't count this as like a major trophy, like it could potentially be one day. That being said, it plays in our favor right now.
Payne, you ready for us to show you around Mexico, Papa?
Yeah, whatever that means.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I don't think that the Galaxy will come out of the group stage, and it's unfortunate, but the formatting has to change.
Peyton, let me ask you a question, 'cause I was going to save this for tomorrow, Baba, because we're going to be on live tomorrow as well.
Okay.
Shout out Nag boys.
If we, yes, shout out Nag boys. If we win Leagues Cup, would you consider the season a success?
If
for the
we win
Galaxy?
Leagues Cup and Campeones Cup, yes. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be like Tottenham. I mean, it's going to be like Tottenham winning the Europa League. Would you count
Rob,
their season
close your
as
ears.
success? I mean,
Dang, ouch,
their
bro.
fans
ouch.
would. You know,
Yeah, that's a trophy.
I would assume that their fans would consider that season a success despite terrible league play.
But I know Europa League, and yes,
Right.
I know.
So
They'd be like, we got a trophy and Arsenal didn't.
exactly right. And in that case, it could be us winning a trophy and maybe like LAFC, San Diego, San Jose not winning one this year potentially. That would be hilarious after all the standings talk that they've given us to have more trophies.
Yeah.
It's a Leagues Cup and Campeones Cup, but we still have a chance at a double. I would consider it a success. Would you guys?
I think so. I mean, in some respect, I mean, at the end of the day, you when you go and try to go through the regular season, obviously you want MLS Cup, right? But if you're not going to win MLS Cup, you want to be in the places to at least be in Champions Cup places and earn the right to play international competition. If they win Leagues Cup, then they earn the right to, or the first three places, they earn that right. Yeah. So, you got to consider that at least a success because you got into international competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will plead the fifth and leave this one on a cliffhanger. That's an incentive for you guys to check out the stream tomorrow with the Nag boys.
Dang, look at that.
Shout out you guys. Thank you guys. Pleasure having you guys on anytime.
Anytime.
Thank you, Bubba.
Of course, it is a pleasure, you guys.
Till we meet in Mexico.
Love it. And just to end this on a little sad note here, a little heartwarming. Ricky Puig and Gaston Bergman reunited last night. I guess I think Nashville are pretty far in Leagues Cup, or in Open Cup, so they're not playing Leagues Cup to my knowledge.
Right. If you're playing Open Cup, you're not playing.
Yeah, that's another weird stipulation that they have this year. I'm not sure why they did it that way, but it is what it is. Next year, by the way, we could be looking at Open Cup again instead of Leagues Cup. So that's another interesting thing to factor in. Maybe we could get an Open Cup title next year. Ooh. But I don't know how seriously we would take that. Gaston Bergman, Ricky Puig reunited. Thank you guys, man. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. Lacuna Galaxia, make sure if you're here right now, you're watching this, subscribe over there. They're awesome. Love the podcast. You guys do an excellent job. Mondays and
Thursdays,
Mondays and Thursdays.
Yeah, but not during Leagues Cup because we'll be at the digs. We'll be at the digs. So yeah, tomorrow, just a little plug. We will be on with the Nag Boys at 9 p.m. to basically preview Leagues Cup. A lot of what we talked about today, but we're gonna get, we'll get into Leagues Cup. We'll get the Nag Boys' thoughts on what they think about the Galaxy's chances and all that good stuff. So
yeah. We'll get a little spicy with the Nag Boys for sure.
All feelings, no facts.
Yeah, and shout out to those boys. We'll see you tomorrow. Where the time goes.
Sounds great, guys. Where can people find you?
You can find me there at my tag at El Escudero de LA. You can find my articles at the Sporting Tribune and Extra Time Talk. And you can find us both on the Lacuna Galaxiana podcast Monday and Thursday night. You can find that at Lacuna Galaxiana pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, as I always say on our pod, you can follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana. Take your pick. And of course, you guys can always find me in the concourse hanging out at the digs. So if you see me, come say hi, come say what up. I still have a stack of stickers for everyone if you guys want slaps. So definitely, just come say hi. Would love a chat.
Remember to subscribe to Talkin Galaxy. Hit that like button.
Most important.
And show them love, y'all. Show them love. They're putting out great content for this Galaxy community. And it was an honor to be here with you again, Big Pay. I'll be expecting that shipment of Flintstone vitamins behind the bleachers,
behind the digs, and other substances. As for myself, I'm LA Galaxy _Buzz on Instagram, or Talking Galaxy on Instagram as well. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and more importantly, subscribe to Lacuna Galaxia. Thank you guys for showing up, and we will have you on in the future whenever you guys, if this wasn't too traumatizing for you guys, we will have you on again. Thank you.
We
guys.
loved it, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, everyone in the chat, thank you very much, and I will see you.